Good morning. Welcome to the CHTV Principal Show. My name is JD Arland, joined as always by our principal, John Williams.
JD, how you doing, man?
Pleasure to join you.
I like the no glass look on you.
Yeah, it was unintentional today, but I am digging the casual attire from you as well.
Mine was very intentional.
Tell us about your spring. How's your spring been so far?
Been great. You know, it's always interesting. You come back from spring break and everything's 100 miles an hour,
Yes.
but it's such a nice time, busy time, but if you can catch your breath, it's nice because we're celebrating so many things, wrapping up so many wonderful things, and certainly everybody has a lot to look forward to. You know, you seniors, as you guys move on, and the upperclassmen, you know, transitioning to another grade. So it's a nice time of year, and then you get some nice weather every once in a while, which really helps.
Absolutely, yeah. I've been taking in that weather quite a bit. Well, one thing that a lot of people are talking about, a lot of people are preparing for in the spring are AP exams. And here at Carmel High School, there's a whole lot. We offer a lot of AP classes, so there's obviously going to be a pretty extensive final exam schedule. Can't be easy to make one of those. Can you take us a little bit through the process of how you guys organize AP exams?
Yeah, first of all, a couple things. First of all, I want to congratulate, you know, you talk about our numbers, and that's one of the things that we're most proud of at Carmel High School. And I want to congratulate and shout out to our students and parents, because you know it's a family thing when you challenge yourself in school, who made the commitment that, you know what, we're going to get the very most we can academically out of our school, and our numbers have continued to grow. And along with those numbers, you know, of course, are the AP test and the IB test, and you throw in the state test that we have to do, the ECAs, and it makes for an interesting schedule. I'll give kudos to a couple people. One, Brad Seaver, who's one of the assistant principals. He oversees all of our testing schedule, and he does an amazing job. He works well with our counselors, who also help coordinate AP in particular, and our department chairs. I mean, it's a team effort led by Brad to put together a schedule. And again, our responsibility is to create an environment where kids can have the best chance to be successful on those tests. They're high stakes tests. They're the end result of a lot of commitment, and we want to ensure that we're doing everything we can to have a schedule that benefits them, that doesn't have disruptions in it. You know, we don't do fire drills. We don't make announcements. You know, we are fully committed to that block of time, and it's a large block of time for our kids having the best environment they can have to take those tests and to be successful on those tests.
And we talked about earlier before the show a couple of days ago about the block schedule of Carmel High School and how well AP exams are suited for that. In my personal experience, you know, I've taken quite a few AP exams, and it's always fit in really well within the schedule.
Yeah.
But talking about multiple exams and talking about, you know, you do want to give students the best chance to do well, and it seems like that through the exam schedule. But what advice would you offer to students taking multiple AP exams or maybe a first AP exam?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I do have some advice. I think that the most important thing about an exam, I think, to remember is that the work has already been done. And the exam itself is a product of the work that you've done. So mentally, if you as a student feel like throughout the time of the course, either it's a year or a semester, that you've worked hard and paid attention and studied and appropriately done the things that you were needed to do, then the exam shouldn't be a fearful thing. In fact, it should kind of be, you know, something you look forward to, an opportunity for you to show what you've done. So I think, first of all, take confidence in the fact that you've done the work prior to the exam. I'm not a big fan of people, you know, feeling like, okay, on this weekend I've got to learn everything I need to learn to take an AP exam or a final or whatever it might be. And I know that there's times at that where you review and you refresh, and that's all appropriate, but it should be with the confidence that I already know this stuff. So that's one thing. And the second is that one of the things that we find is that kids who, in some cases, who know the material struggle on these exams because they're lengthy exams. I-STEP and ECAs are more than one period, but even our AP, which are 90 minutes or 87 minutes long, that sometimes what gets kids is they get frustrated. And to understand going in that this is a long exam, not necessarily any harder, but longer. So to go in, of course, we talk about getting a good night's sleep, having a good breakfast. Those are things that they're kind of cliches, but they're very important to do that, and then to come in and mentally kind of pace yourself through the exam. And if you get frustrated, or you just kind of get worn out, or you lose focus, to stop. And I've done this where I've taken a 30-second pause to myself and just catch my breath and then go back in. It's kind of like doing something physically where you got to stop and kind of catch your breath and refocus and then get back in. And what you hope is that you don't let frustration or distraction or lack of focus prevent you from giving your best performance on that test. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's good advice, in sporting events, to take a time out, to chill out. When maybe you're overwhelmed with a play or a certain thing that happened in the sport, coach will usually take a time out to regroup. I think it's no different for testing.
It's a great analogy. A test is like an event.
Yeah.
And like your event, you don't 5 minutes before the game learn how to play basketball,
right,
or learn how to perform your routine in a choir. You've done all the work the months before that, and when they have a performance, which is kind of like a test. I'm pointing over there because we've got
one of our Carmel ambassadors in the studio with us, Kyle Schultz.
So they go in with and they prepare and they get psyched up, but they know their preparation didn't happen the night before the performance or the game, and so that's really the same kind of attitude that you have on a high-stakes test. It's just a performance that you've prepared for.
Absolutely. Well, talking about getting prepared, switching gears a little bit to the extracurricular side, at least for upperclassmen, something else is going on during AP week, and I know a lot of people have been preparing possibly equally as much for this, is prom. And Carmel prom is obviously a big deal.
It is.
It's thousands of people that you're preparing for and that sort of thing. On the administrative side, how is such a large event planned and then put forth into action?
Well, again, it takes a team effort. Amy Skeens-Benton, who's one of our assistant principals, she oversees prom, but like Brad Severs with our testing, Amy has a team of people. Everyone kind of has their area of responsibility. We actually have a teacher, and I can't think of who it is, so I'm sorry, who has that as a kind of an ECA responsibility. They kind of oversee prom, and we used to rotate that, and so kind of like the class sponsors would every year we had new people coming in, and so much of what you do with prom is basically what you did last year and what you did the year before, and with some tweaks. So a lot of it is just plugging in, reserving the date and getting the same person to come in and decorate and making the same caterers and those kinds of things. So it's, we try not to reinvent the wheel when we have this big event. We do always debrief after prom and say, what, we use this company for this. They didn't do a very good job. Let's get another company, that kind of discussion. So that's how it's planned, and it's something that we're very proud of. Our goal in prom is to have a safe and secure place where kids can come in and have, to some extent, one of the most memorable times of their life. And we take that very seriously. We're one of the few schools that breathalyze for prom. And we do that because we want to say to our parents and our kids, if you come into prom, we're going to ensure that you're drug and alcohol free, and that's, again, that goes back to that safe and secure kind of environment where kids come in, and you've been to prom. They have a ball.
Oh, absolutely.
We have to run them out when it's over.
And with the breathalyzers, we're sure that everybody remembers the evening as well.
Yes, good point.
Certainly.
And they don't have a terrible result to it.
Right, absolutely, yeah. And they do
you
such a nice job of keeping everyone safe. And there's so many, I say this with hesitation, but there are so many chaperones there. But they're not intrusive. They're there to keep everybody safe. There's quite a few police at the door to make sure everybody is in line. And my entire time at Carmel, my entire time hearing about Carmel, there hasn't been a whole lot of hearing negative feedback about prom.
No, and again, I think everybody understands that it's a school event, and because it's a school event, it's the goal is to make it fun and enjoyable and memorable, but also safe and secure. And we have a huge responsibility to do that we take very seriously. And the thing with the police officers, almost all of them are our SROs that are here in our building every day. Mm-hmm. So the police officers are police officers that our kids see in the hallways every day. So it's really no different than seeing me or anybody else on our staff. So I'm glad to hear you say that, because we certainly don't want to create an environment where kids think, well, I can't laugh too loud or somebody's going to get on me or whatever. So it's that balance between, and I think we strike it, and it's good to hear you say that.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you what your biggest pitch is. You talked about the safety and obviously a memorable evening, but what would your biggest pitch be for somebody considering staying home versus going to prom?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I would encourage people to consider going to prom. But like everything else we do, prom's not for everyone. And if someone, if it's not their thing, I don't think they should necessarily feel bad about not going. But it is one of the, top 5 or 6 things that most people remember about their high school career. And so to strongly consider what that would look like for me and how I would enjoy that and how that fits into what I like to do and who I like to do it with is something I would strongly consider. It's somewhat of an investment. It can be. And one of the things that we also do, Ms. Keens-Benton does a great job with this, is we try and make it where no one would not go to prom because of the financial commitment. And we have, dozens and dozens of dresses, and we've bought tux or rented tux for people and given tickets to people, and anyone who wants to go, just like anything else we do here, finances should not be a reason. So I just would put a pitch that if they're a parent listening to this or watching this, are a student and they would like to go to prom, but they are worried about the cost, which is a fair worry, that to know that it's very confidential, no one else knows, and so don't let that stop you from going to prom.
Absolutely. Another big part of prom, another big factor of prom is After-Prom. Mm-hmm. It's at the Woodland Bowl on 96th Street, has been for a couple of years, free bowling. And I believe there's some games and festivals there. Tell us a little bit about After-Prom, how long it's been running, that sort of thing.
It's been going since before I came here. So at least 14 years, more than 14 years. And I think it's always been at Woodland Bowl. It's just a great place. Again, our attempt is to give an option for kids. We know prom, it's from 8 to 11 or 11:30 or
somewhere around there. I believe it's 11:30, or was last year.
And so we know that time we're pretty good about what the kids are doing. And then after that, there's lots of options for after prom activities. And again, there's people who go back to homes and watch movies, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with those things. But the fact that what we offer is what we hope is a fun, free bowling. Everybody can bowl. Like me, not very well, but everybody can do it, and you don't have to be in shape. And all you can do is be able to lift about a 6 or 7 or maybe even 8
I think it's like
pounds.
6 to 12 would be a good range.
And be around your friends. We bring in free pizza, and again, it's been kind of interesting. Some years it's packed. Some years it's a little bit lean. We've always had a fair number of kids come, a good number. I think last year it was, I mean, wasn't a place, an empty lane
right.
in Woodland Bowl. So I would really encourage kids who go to prom to participate in our After-Prom. Again, it's going to be safe. We breathalyze there. And it's just an option. Parents, if their kids are there, know that they at least know some things about what their kids are doing.
That's good. That's great. You've sparked my interest. That was going to be the close of the show, but now I'm just wondering, are you a good bowler? What is your history with bowling?
No. No, I'm not. I have not bowled very much. I mean, we might do it, socially. But no, I'm not very good. The only thing I know about bowling is somebody told me a long time ago, when you release the ball, you should bring your thumb up and touch your nose. And so when I do that...
Good to know.
Yeah, there you go.
Learn a new lesson every day.
We have a great bowling club here at Carmel High School.
Yes, we do.
And so there are some very good bowlers in Carmel High School. I'm not one of them.
Good to know. Well, Principal Williams, thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you, JD.
We've got one more of these left, so make sure you
Good.
Stay tuned to the CHTV YouTube for more content all around the station. That is it for today. Thank you for tuning in to the CHTV Principal Show. I'm JD Arland, signing off.